So you can clip it however you want. But so the next morning, I think I was watching Get Up. The headline, the question, was it Josh Allen's fault? And I told her, we're watching it together. I said, they're not going to answer the question. Listen to the whole segment. All it talked about was, in so many words, like, still, are they the favorite? How much has he done? And every single thing but answering the question, was that play Josh Allen's fault? Bro, he missed the throw. And
Yes.
they didn't play well. The Eagles didn't play well. And honestly, without it being a whatever type of wintry mid storm, I don't know
It's
how Jalen
possible.
Hurts goes 0 for 7 in the second half and still win the game. The second time doing that, having not completed a pass in the second half and they still end up winning. But bro, you stay in I say you stay in Buffalo. Like that, you're home. You're
They
home.
built they got $1 billion new outdoor stadium because you can supposedly handle the elements.
Yeah, and you sucked. Both quarterbacks sucked that day.
Both
But
of them.
both of them sucked. But it's always it, I do not dislike Josh Allen. I dislike the narrative they put around him. They want him to win a Super Bowl so bad.
So bad.
Him
It's
and
a
Joe,
great white
they've
hope.
come off of Joe Burrow a little bit. They put everything on the defense, which it's not all the defense fault, but that defense is poor. But they want Josh Allen to win the Super Bowl so bad. In the same set, not the same segment, but they talked about that in the next segment. They're saying, should you sit Lamar? Should Lamar start? Should Tyler Huntley? Bro, what are we doing? If Lamar physically cannot play, yes, Tyler Huntley should start for sure. But if he's able to play, if the back is okay, then of course he should be the starter. Because who cares who's the starter? Derrick Henry needs 30 carries.
Yes.
He needs 30 carries. And I saw a stat where it said basically if he gets 30 carries, he's gonna get not 200 yards, but about a buck 30 at least.
Gonna be up there.
Give the man 30 carries. I don't care what's going on in the game. Give the man 30 carries, and you're probably gonna win that game.
You know what I've heard over the past couple of days, and I intentionally don't watch much of anything. One, because I don't want to get into groupthink. Like I
Yeah.
want what we bring here to be just a unique perspective on football. So I don't watch First Take or Get Up or any of that
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't read. I wouldn't be able to actually talk about this stuff if I didn't actually read stuff. But this is why it's important to have more people. I'm gonna just say it. We love everybody, but to just have more people who look like us
Yep.
talking about football and then driving the conversation around it. All right, now we don't have ESPN level of subscribers or Colin Coward, Fox Machine behind it, but there's always like this underlying thing, and I hate to be it. I don't want to be a race man, right? I don't want to be that person, but man, it comes
like
out with
that.
Lamar. It
Yep.
comes out with Lamar, and it comes out with Josh too. To be honest,
Yeah.
like any world in which you can, I watched the whole second half of that game. Both teams played terrible. Buffalo played probably more terrible than Philadelphia. There are two things to dissect from that game. One is the wide open missed throw.
Yep.
Yeah, he was rolling out to his lap and on his back foot. I do not care. You are big arm Josh Allen. That is what everybody raves about. Your mobility and your big arm. And when you needed to flex that mobility and that big arm the most, you fail. Period. Point blank. All right. That just is what it is.
That
Number
is what
one.
it is.
Number two, your dumbass coach should have kicked the extra point. I don't know what the reservation is playing overtime against a Philly team that I don't think scored on the offensive side of the ball in the second half. That's
Yeah.
a different conversation. We'll talk about Sean McDermott later. And we're probably going to have a lot of time to talk about Sean McDermott here in the next few weeks. It might be telegraphed in that, but that's a different conversation. But, yeah, we haven't even finished the season yet. Lamar has been injured for a large majority of it. The team has been injured. They lost their best defensive player for the year before the season even began. The coaches made some foolish mistakes, like leaving Derrick Henry on the sideline the last two series against New England. Right? They've had terrible I don't even want to say, there's a mixture of terrible luck, but then also just some really ridiculous, terrible turnovers in key games against Detroit and Buffalo, to where things could be totally different. And yet, in spite of all that, you go into this Sunday, a
Mhm.
chance to win your division. All right.
Nuts.
And I don't care what anybody says. Anybody who makes this postseason can win it legitimately.
Anybody,
Now,
bro.
anybody.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be favorites. There'll be tears. But no one in their right mind is going to sit here and tell me that Denver might likely be the 1 seed, that Denver and New England, the probable 1 seeds, or even Seattle and San Francisco are that much better than Green Bay. And if Baltimore gets in Baltimore, so we're trying to write like an obituary for something that's not dead.
Yeah.
And we don't do that for certain quarterbacks.
We don't. We just don't. We seen definitely the past 2 years. A healthy Lamar Jackson is a top 3, 4 quarterback in the league. No, I don't care how you want to rank him. But a healthy Lamar Jackson, before injury, they fumbled the Buffalo game. He played great. The next game against Cleveland, I don't know what it is about the Browns. I know it's a division game,
It's just
but
tough matchup.
playing at Cleveland,
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Pittsburgh
yeah,
can't even win in Cleveland. But
clearly.
it's just a terrible, I don't know. It's always bad for the Ravens. But those 2 games, aside from those 2 games, like he didn't play well against them, played Kansas City, wasn't playing well pre-injury, so I'm not even making an excuse for that. But MVP season it should have been MVP season last year. The year before MVP season played extremely well. So you're telling me because the guy got injured, and here comes the health questions, his style of play, etc. Like Lamar really doesn't even want to run. I
You
get
don't run
mad
no
because he
more.
doesn't run.
I'd be like, run more. Run.
So when he runs and tries to protect himself by diving instead of sliding, it's just a freak accident. He got kneed in the ribs, got kneed in the lower back. Bam, he's out. When he got hurt at Kansas City, it was a hamstring injury. He didn't get hit.
Can't do nothing about that.
His injuries have been like soft tissue injuries or a
Yeah,
knee injury where he didn't truly get hit hard. So
yeah.
we can't start this injury thing. Like it's just fluke things happen. But to talk about trading an all-pro quarterback, I'm getting rid of the coach before I get rid of the all-pro quarterback.
Bro,
No
it's
question. I don't care who it is. What team?
it's nonsensical. All right, like I saw a quote from some guy on The Athletic talking about, oh, he's entering his age 29 season. Some white guy with a mustache. So there's that. He's entering his age 29 season. We saw him be great last year and then injuries came. I don't know. We just might have seen peak Lamar Jackson. First of all, he turns 29 on January 7th. So,
Bro, I
you know,
forget he's not even 30.
he's not
You
even
gonna
30.
you gonna trade him?
He's not even 30. And then the reason why I bring up the whole, we don't write obituaries for quarterback careers that aren't dead for any other guys, because we don't. There's a 44-year-old, I think, who just came off the couch to play for the Colts. Folks were excited about that. Tom Brady and getting his HGH were playing until his mid-40s. No one gets faster in their 40s unless they're using performance-enhancing drugs. I do not care what you say. Different conversation. Peyton Manning, we know he took HGH after that neck
Yeah.
injury, played until his 40s. I can keep doing this with you all. How long did Drew Brees play? How long did Dan Marino play? So on and so forth. It's a really violent and physical game to where guys are just going to get hurt playing an inherently violent and physical game. The
Plain and
deeper
simple.
issue with this for me is it'd be one thing if he had been entirely healthy and played at this ridiculous level for 7
Yes.
straight years, and we were having this conversation. He's done the thing that we are talking about before. Historic year in 2019, a little
Yep.
bit of a drop off in 2020, injury riddled 21 and 22, came back with 2023 MVP. 2024, actually, I think it's probably one of the best, if not the best quarterback season ever. When you look at the advanced metrics and EPA, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, just whatever. People wanted to give it to the great white hope. Cool. If anything, if you're actually a betting person, I would bet that this is the anomaly. In 2026, he comes back
Yeah.
and just sets everyone up. and they go 15-2, and then we're right back to having the very legitimate conversation around getting over the hump. Right? Those are legitimate conversations. Him getting traded, him being washed, him no longer being who he is, that's not legitimate. We got to stop doing it. Because we don't have this for any other quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just wild to me that if you bring this up, people try to act like you're crazy. Like they just don't do this with any other quarterback. We just saw Phillip Rivers get off the couch. And I'm not comparing Phillip Rivers and Cam Newton, but Cam Newton, I watch, like I said, I'm like you. I don't watch full shows. I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see the clip and I'll watch it. So Cam Newton was basically like, dang, they couldn't call me. And I'm like, you know what? You're much younger. They just drafted Anthony Richardson because of you, not directly, but they saw what you can do in the league. So why didn't they call you? At least you got a running quarterback, or I'm sorry, you got one of the best backs in the league. Put that together with a running quarterback. You're not asking Phillip Rivers to go win you a game. So he can't do that. So things like they just keep piling on and piling on. You can't tell me they just don't go together, man. It's the great white hope. And I don't want to be like that. I really don't. But it just lines up. It just lines up. And I'm not even a big Cam Newton guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really not. But when he said that, I'm like, you're talking about 44. I think Cam Newton is a year older than me, so I'm talking about 37. You're talking about 7 years younger? 7 years younger, and you couldn't call that guy and be like, you know what? Now they all of a sudden, you know what? Playoffs is over with us for us. We're going to start Riley Leonard.
I'm going to start Riley Leonard. Yeah. Because the 44-year-old was going to lead us to the playoffs anyway.
That's what, bro.
Give me a break.
You didn't leave it. The thing that was crazy to me, and I know we're all over the place, but the first game he came back, all he did was throw screen passes. You telling me your rookie couldn't do that?
1-2 go.
If you're going to bring a guy off the couch, I'm expecting you to, you know what? He knows the playbook. We're just going to hand it to him. Here's the reins. Let's go. You didn't do that. Your rookie could have did that. Anthony Richardson, if he wasn't healthy, could have done that. So, if he was healthy, I'm sorry. But, like, come on now.
First of all, if I'm Riley Leonard, I want to smack everybody in that front office. Right? Like, I'm not coming back here in the offseason. I'll go to law school or something and be an agent and stir every single player that I represent away from signing with the Colts for the rest of my life. That would be my personal vendetta, is to prevent the Indianapolis Colts from succeeding in anything that I can control if I'm Riley Leonard. No, there was no progressions. Phillip, it wasn't hey, here's 1 and 2. We know he can't run. You don't get off the couch at 44 years old and outrun NFL defensive players. We don't have to belabor this point. It's just I want us to stop doing this. And every time we do it, I'm gonna push back against it. The other part I saw who is this? Some Sando guy from The Athletic, Mike Sando, talking about it's a problem that Lamar doesn't have an agent because then he has to end up having difficult conversations with the organization that agents normally have. Okay, cool story.
He's a grown.
As if we're not, I was just about to say, as if we're not all grown men. Do you know what most other people in life do directly with their employers? Negotiate.
If I want to raise, I'm not hiring an attorney to talk to my boss.
Crazy.
What?
It's crazy.
But that's crazy.
Also, here's what he said. Would you rather have Jackson or would you rather have, say, 3 first-round picks and Malik Willis?
Bro, we don't know.
Apparently, I'm going to read this last one and then just go in. Quote, give Malik Willis for $15 million a year, trade Lamar, get your 3 ones and a player, and now you can justify it, thinking we have a similar style quarterback who is not as good but is younger with way fewer miles. These people are stupid. That's what this
You're talking about way fewer miles as a quarterback means less experience. Because
this is not
you can
NBA.
say Lamar won an MVP in his second year as a starter. No, really his first full season. So you're telling me you're just going to trade that for Malik Willis, which I'm not hating on him. I think he can be a starter in this league. But we're talking about a guy who hasn't been a starter, and we know how the NFL works. These backups have great games until you have film on them, and they're expected to be the starter. It's just how it works. And like I
How
said,
it
this is
is.
not a Malik Williams thing, a Malik Willis thing. It's bro, like we're asking a backup to not win the game. Now Malik Williams played very well against the Ravens the other night,
He balled out.
but he balled out, and I was pissed off the whole time. But again, he's not expected to be the starter long term. And it's just different. I don't know why it's different, but it's just different because we've seen historically how it happens. If you're not a starter, you can come in and flash for 1 or 2 games. Soon as those teams get film on you, see what you can or can't do,
Yeah.
like you come back to who you really are. The guy was cut for a reason. Like I said, I'm not banging on Malik Willis. The guy was cut for a reason.
He looked terrible in Tennessee.
Like
I want him to succeed. We both do.
I do
For a
too,
very obvious
but
reason. But he looked terrible.
but it's just things happen for a reason. Like you can't just say, give me 3 first-round picks. We'll just take a backup who has a similar style, which is code language too, because they don't.
Exactly. Because no one says there's a similar style out there for Josh Allen. Or
No
Joe
one says
Burrow,
that.
Or Patrick Mahomes.
Josh Allen's similar style is literally Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta stop. We gotta stop this. We gotta.
Where's the similar style for Tyler Shook? Where's the similar
That's what
style
I'm
for Justin
saying.
Herbert?
Who can run is similar to Lamar Jackson. No.
What's going on out here,
Michael,
man? What is
we can go back and talk about Michael Vick. Lamar Jackson is a much better passer than Michael Vick.
These are the same
Like-
people. These are the same people who want you and I to believe that Sam Darnold is going to lead Seattle to a Super Bowl. That's these same people. I'm going to give a shout out real quick. I'm going to shout out Swagoo because I did see the clip of him going off on Monday Night Countdown. RC was included in that because he always talking about some crazy stuff. Hopefully he don't come
Yeah.
out and apologize for this too because he always apologizes. And there's this hit piece by this dude who writes in the Baltimore Sun on Lamar and all this other stuff, talking about he's staying up late playing video games, all this other stuff. Number one,
Bro.
right? You didn't say
What
that
does
in
that
years
matter?
before, as Swagoo
No.
said. Number two, if I am hurt for a month and I know I'm not playing and I'm 28
I'm gonna play for games.
and I'm a multimillionaire, I'm going to stay up and play video games.
Because
I'm
I
not
don't
going to
have
come in
practice in the
here and
morning.
prepare. I'm not going to come in here and prepare like I'm playing on Sunday when I know I'm not playing on Sunday. And I know we want to
getting
pretend
treatment.
that.
That's it.
What are we doing?
Bro, I literally like watching. I told you I was out of town, so I was in a hotel. Everybody has ESPN, so I'm actually watching the shows, and I'm watching. I'm like, how do people watch this stuff?
Terrible.
All I want to see is Dan Orlovsky or whoever break down on why such and such was successful or unsuccessful.
He's good.
That's it.
He's
He
got
is good. He does a good job.
Yeah.
He loves Josh Allen too, but he didn't.
Yeah, at least
actually
tell
come
you
to his- he'll tell you why. And he didn't come to his rescue. He actually said, no, he missed the throw. It was a bad throw, whatever. But like, that's all I want to see. These guys debate they debate things that we're not even thinking about. So, like you mentioned earlier, it creates groupthink. Nobody thinks for themselves. So it's,
Yeah.
oh, I've heard Lamar Jackson should be traded for 3 first rounders. Oh, I'll trade him for 3. Dude, do you not understand how hard it is to get a franchise quarterback?
What
And
are you
I'm not talking about like a quarterback that can win you games. I'm talking about a quarterback that's had a history. Hey, our team should not win this game, and we're going to win this game. It's hard. You only have a few guys in the league right now who you believe in that can do that. And I'm telling you, it's not more than 5.
There's only 5 of them.
Get paid like they're supposed to, but you really don't believe in them.
That's it.
And I'm telling you, it's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. They have the ball in their hands. You know they have a shot.
It's them
Anybody
4.
else, you're guessing.
That's
I'm
it.
telling you, I don't care how much they're getting paid. Everybody else, you're guessing. Now, can they? Yes. But you have faith in those 4 guys.
Yeah.
to just make some type of play. Yeah.
Yeah, we can get there yet.
Sports media just sucks, man. It
It is
sucks.
terrible. I guess we'll have plenty of time to come back to this in the off season because this is clearly
Mhm.
what people are committed to talking about for the entire. Who knows? Anyway, nice little Sunday slate coming up. Let's shift a little bit. First of all, if you're not subscribed to the show, subscribe to All 22. Take the time. Do it right now. I don't know where it is on your phone or your computer. Just pause or don't pause. Keep it running. Mini screen, go out, subscribe. Bam, there you go. You good. It's free. It don't cost you nothing to subscribe, homie. You sit up here listening to Stephen A. Smith and his terrible takes all the time. We actually watch and research.
Terrible.
Click subscribe. All right. Appreciate that. Just do a little college block real quick. I'm actually looking forward to these games, man. We got to talk
tomorrow.
about coaches tomorrow.
Forget what day it is, bro.
This is the time of year you don't know what day it is. You might eat breakfast at 8 p.m. and dinner at 2.
Man, I might have breakfast for dinner for real.
But it's all good. It's all good. I love it. I love it. And then we get to cap it off with an amazing sort of playoff slate. Real quick, though, let's touch up on Michigan hired Kyle Whittingham from Utah. And one of the really cool things I think we like to do is we actually don't talk about these things beforehand.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I think leaves an element.
I get the slate, and I'm like, bet.
Yeah, and now I used to telegraph some stuff. Now I'm just like, no, I just want to see how my man feels. I think Michigan just jumped Bass ackwards in the same way Penn State did into a good coach. I don't even know if this needs to be a 5-minute segment. It's just terrible situation, lack of institutional control. Ward Manuel should be fired, will be fired. I'm not sure if they'll throw him under the bus after the investigation, during it, or before, but he will be gone, as he should be. They're going to get a new president in there, so a lot of things are going to happen in Ann Arbor. I can't think of a better guy who was available who can come in and just be a grown man in the room. I have no idea how well of a football fit this is, if that makes sense. Whittingham has been at Utah, I think, since 2005. He took over for Urban Meyer. And
he was there before that. He was Urban Meyer's DC.
Yeah, he's a Utah guy.
He's been there a while.
He's a Utah guy. So there is, I will say from a football standpoint, his career coaching record is 177 and 88, about 67% at Utah, which I think has grown as a program this century into a really solid top tier mid-major. There were some years where they were definitely competitive for a national title and then fell off. A few top 10 finishes in his time at Utah. I think 2 actually. No, 1 top 10 finish, 2022. Okay, we could go down the list on that. And I think that's where I have a little bit of a challenge. I don't think it's like an A+ from a football standpoint. I think if you have questions about how he fits there, very legitimate. Right? He's only ever coached in Utah. This is a completely different culture. Ann Arbor, Big Ten, University of Michigan, as opposed to Utah. So there are football concerns. And if you told me that he would go, his next 3 seasons would be 8-4, 7-5, 10-2, I wouldn't be surprised. I think for a place like that, where football is king, where it matters, where it drives a lot of what happens there, and that is an amazing academic institution in and of itself, but football still matters in places like that. They need a grown man in charge of that Fortune 500 company. And I'll guarantee you this, they're not going to have a losing season. And I'm pretty confident Kyle Whittingham is not going to have an affair with his secretary. And there's going to be some discipline and things put in place to get a level of just more respectability back to that program that kind of started falling off with Harbaugh. From that perspective, I like to hire. I don't know what's coming from a football standpoint. I think he needs to probably hold on to Bryce Underwood first. He's bringing over his offensive coordinator from Utah. We'll see how that translates. He likes to build really strong lines in the trenches, which is going to be important. If you do that, at Michigan, you're always going to have the skill players. So anyway, the ceiling I think here is high. This isn't some guy who's past his prime, right? He stepped down. He didn't retire. I think the low here is a couple of years of 7-5. And then within a 3-year range, you're going to get, in my opinion, a 10 or 11 win season out of Kyle Whittingham. And if 3 years from now, they move on to some young buck who's had the time to really grow into the type of job that Michigan is, great. But you could not take a chance on anybody who hadn't done this job for a long time after what they have just put themselves in. And for that reason, I'm actually excited about it.
Yeah, like you said, man, they literally, both programs, like if we were to, who would you say came out better? Penn State, Michigan. I think long run, it's Penn State just because Campbell is younger. Do you watch Josh Pate? You know what
I
that
watch
is?
Pate periodically. Yeah, I know that ball headed guy.
So a few months, maybe a few months ago, maybe I think it was when Penn State at first fired James Franklin. He mentioned Matt Campbell and how he's the coach who essentially, if he wanted a bigger job, he would, but he's just so family oriented. Like he loved Iowa State because
Yeah.
he just wanted to stay. He didn't want to uproot his family. His kids were comfortable. He was comfortable, but he's a good coach who can coach at a better program. He said that literally maybe 6 weeks before he got hired. And then they kept striking out on who they actually wanted, and they ended up hiring Matt Campbell. I think Penn State's going to be right back. I don't know how well of a recruiter is. He was at Iowa State, so that's to be determined. But I think he's
Toledo
going to be
before that. So we have no idea. But
that's what I'm saying. So that's going to determine how good they're going to be because you got to compete with Michigan and Ohio State and
yeah.
USC now. And so we'll see. But with Kyle Whittingham, I feel like they hit a home run, man. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, let's say he only gives you 4 solid years. Sharon Moore went, what, 9-3 this year?
Yes.
He went 9-3. And
With
Bryce
all that going
Underwood,
on.
with all that going on, Bryce Underwood wasn't a superstar this year.
No.
So retain him or not, which I don't know. They may retain him, they may not. But you're telling me how his Utah teams played. The Pac-12 years when Oregon was always like the favorite, like they had all the 5 stars. Utah was beating them up. And you know why they were beating them up? They were beating them up in the trenches.
In the trench.
So they're a Pac-12 team that plays or had always played like a Big Ten team. You have your OC following you. You have the head coach who his culture. You're going down or going to the Big Ten where you have all the money. You can get any recruit you want. Well, you have access to any recruit in the nation you can want. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if they win 10 games. I don't see them going 7-5.
Yeah.
Like I said, Sharon Moore went 9-3. And I'm not trying to bash the brother, but Kyle Whittingham is a great coach.
Kyle Whittingham is an upgrade. That's another statement.
He's an upgrade. So him winning 9 games would not surprise me. Him winning 10 games wouldn't surprise me. If he wins the Big Ten, it wouldn't surprise me because he's a good coach. And at the end of the day, if he can salvage his current players, I don't know, finish as far as recruiting class this year, but they're going to play tough football. They're going to play disciplined football. I don't think it's going to be that big of a transition for him.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do well, man. Right off the bat, I think they're going to. Are they going to win a national championship? Probably not. Bryce Underwood may have to take like a huge leap for that to happen. But 9-10 wins, I don't think it would be a surprise.
Yeah. No, I agree. You asked who I think made out better. I gotta go push. I know that's a cop out, but I think they both stumbled to no avail of their own into tremendous coaching hires. I think Matt Campbell would be at Penn State for 30 years if he wants to be, unless he just gets an NFL itch here in 10 to 12 years once his kids are grown and maybe he's won a national championship and his wife is like, all right, I want another beach house. Then cool, I'll go coach the Miami Dolphins. Like I could see Matt Campbell doing that in a decade or so. People are like, very valid question around recruiting.
Yeah.
We do not know the answer to that because of where he's been. People just don't go to Toledo and Iowa State. What we do know is he's developed quite a bit of talent. Iowa State has put a lot of guys in the NFL during his tenure, including some skill position guys, but the guy can coach. I don't like to get into the trend of, oh, I know and I'll bet money that this hire is a home run. For example, I don't know how Bob Chesney is going to do at UCLA. James Madison to UCLA is big. I don't know if Florida found the right fit. I know Lane Kiffin and LSU will end in implosion, but that's just because I've seen this movie before. If we run this tape back in 5 years, these would be the most shocking hires that didn't turn out to be successful that I think I'm not going to, it might sound hyperbolic to say that I've ever seen in college, but you don't see guys who are one, this proven, two, this well respected in their profession by their peers, and three, with this level of professionalism, go to jobs and not be successful very often, if that makes sense. You've never heard a peep out of Iowa State since Matt
Nope.
Campbell was there.
Nope.
Kyle Whittingham has been there since the Bush administration. So, yeah, I would be very much so surprised if these two hires aren't home runs. And I think it's good. I think the more quality programs, more blue bloods we have that are good, especially in the Big Ten, the better, because we need to keep that balance. The SEC is going to always have this media train from ESPN doing the homerism and clamoring for them. And so to keep any semblance of a national kind of sport that has the balance and the equal balance of power, especially as they talk playoff expansion again, right? Like we need the Big Ten heavyweights to hold on. We also need somebody in the ACC to actually be good. That's a different conversation. But so anyway, yeah, dope hires. We'll talk a lot more about that in the off season. We got some actual football to talk about. College football playoff quarterfinals. That's such a mouthful. Good grief. I'm just gonna call it the quarters. Like goodness. Hey, why do we do this? The NFL is just divisional round, wild card, championship. College football playoff quarterfinal at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Who is saying all that?
Who's the guy with the voice? Big voice guy. Yeah. That's it. That's the only guy that needs to say.
All right, that's it, man. Dang. Anyway, I'm excited about all these games. I figure we can just do them in order. Tennessee, that was last year where they went to Ohio State. Mollywop. Tennessee is not in the playoff. New Year's Eve, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Miami and Ohio State. Ohio State is a 9.5.
It's a 9.5.
9.5 point favorite.
9.5. Bro, I think it's that big because of Carson Beck.
It's like that now?
Carson, he's played well for, let's put it like this. He's played terrible for 3 games this year. Every other game, he's played well. So even the game they won against A&M, played terrible.
Yeah.
It was windy, blah, blah. Man, I don't listen.
Yeah, you bought it.
I'm not buying it because when he's turning the ball over, when he gets pressure, he's going to turn the ball over.
Man.
And that's bottom line. And I truly expect Ohio State. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game because Miami's defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, Marcel Reed he just wet the bed last week, and I don't think Sam would do that. But I just feel like Ohio State's defense is just going to come after him all night. And their defense is obviously better than A&M's. Their defense is better than Louisville's. Their defense is better than SMU. And those are the teams that Carson Beck has struggled against.
Yeah.
And aside from, I'm even going back to early in the season. Even when they beat Florida State, that second half, he was awful. Like, they pretty much was just first half trick plays. Big shots. If he doesn't get the big shot, then he's going to eventually force it. They can run the ball well. Now, Ohio State has a good run defense. But on the other end, as far as Ohio State's offense, the best defenses they face, they've struggled. So that's why I don't expect it to be like 30-something to 17 or something like that. But I do expect it to be low scoring. I don't expect any team scoring over 24 points.
Yeah.
If they do, I would be surprised. If they score over 24 points, I'm expecting that to be Ohio State. Now, 9.5, the 9.5 number isn't huge to me. It's just the fact that I know, like, it's because of Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know you got the over-under in front of you?
40.
It's 4. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. So you can get anything. It can literally be 20-17. Now, I know
Yeah.
that's under the 40, but that's the type of game I'm expecting.
Yeah.
What you think?
First of all, I was not more wrong about anything this college football season,
Oh, yeah.
other than my Penn State national title pick, join the club, than Miami beating Texas A&M.
Oh, I
I
was,
I thought the Aggies. I thought the Aggies would smoke them at Cal Field.
I did too.
And I was just wrong about that. That's what we do here. We own our mistakes and misgivings because that's what grown adult men are supposed to do. What that does do, though, is I saw that front seven. I saw the trenches I saw Miami be able to do two things. One is run the football against a team I didn't necessarily think they'd be able to run the ball against, or not to that level of effectiveness.
Not like that. I thought they
Right.
would be able to move the ball. Also, some of those long runs, like last night when Bijan broke for 93. Like, that's
After.
literally one person missing their run fit, and you have a
Yeah.
home run back, and he's out the gate. On
Yeah.
that last drive, Miami running back, can't remember his name right now, but it was a lot of misfits, and he was just getting chunks and chunks. Before that, he was just moving the ball. But that last drive, he was getting chunks. I didn't think they would be able to move the ball that well, but I knew they were going to be able to run it because this is Mario Cristobal. That's what he wants to do anyway. He doesn't even trust Carson Beck. Otherwise, he's not giving the ball to a freshman. Malachi Tony is very good. He's not giving the ball to a freshman to decide the game. It's 3rd and 5. They get that stop, they kick the field goal. Who knows what happens? But
Yeah.
he decided not to put the ball in Carson Beck's hands.
Yeah. They're paying a lot of money for somebody they absolutely have no faith in, which
Yeah.
is the day and age that we're in. What Miami did show me, though, is obviously they have individual playmakers, obviously on
Yep.
offense with Malachi Tony, and then Ruben Bain Jr. might be the first pick in the draft. One, I think 9.5 is a little. When I first looked at it, I said 9.5 is just too big. All right, this is the same team who I saw play along with Texas A&M, hold their own in the trenches, match them on the outside, so on and so forth. The more I get away from that, and we had mentioned this even before we both picked Texas A&M to smoke Miami, this is the problem with these ridiculously large conferences. We don't actually have a solid subset of data to point to how good these teams are. In hindsight, Texas A&M probably wasn't that good. They played a really weak schedule. They beat the best team they played in Notre Dame early on by a point, and then rode the wave through that. They got on the field with Texas, and we saw what they did. All that being said, I haven't seen Julian Sayon in this spot. I have seen Carson Beck in this spot. I'm going to look. Would I be surprised if Miami pulled an upset? No. I trust that. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think Mark Fletcher is going to have chunk runs against Ohio State that he was able to put together against Texas A&M. I don't know if there's a team better equipped to slow down Malachi Tony than Ohio State at this point. If there's anybody with more athletes and more guys who are going to make a lot of money on Sunday than Ohio State on defense,
They're the most talented team in the country, bro.
Most talented team in the country by far. And I think when you've got a situation where you know you're going to be indoors, so the weather-controlled environment, they've had some extra time to prepare, extra time to scheme against how they protect Sayon and set some things up in order to get the ball downfield to either Carnell Tate,
Jeremiah Smith.
Or
Jeremiah Smith is from South Florida.
He's from
I
South
know
Florida.
he wants to put it on. He almost went to Miami too.
This is a case for me of honestly, like when I look at the matchups that matter, like I'm taking Miami's D-line over Ohio State's offensive line. I might take Miami's O-line over Ohio State's defensive line. They got some pro prospects up front too. I just think, one, people talk a lot of stuff about Ryan Day. And I don't think he's one of the greats in this game per se, but I think he's a much better coach than Mario Cristobal. I think Brian Hartline's going to be able to scheme some stuff. And there's just between Caleb Downs and
Ryan Day's calling the plays.
And he got something to prove. He has some time to put together.
He's calling the plays this game.
I think between Caleb Downs and Arvell Reese and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate,
Downs is one of more. Downs might be my favorite player in college football.
He's gonna be a beast. I wish he was still at Alabama.
Bro, and I said it when he was at Mill Creek. Bro, this is like one of the best high school players I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
and the Georgia fans, he's coming. Nah, bro, I think he's locked in to Bama. Even when he was transferring, I said, nah, it was
He
out of
ain't going
Bama
there.
and Ohio State out of high school. He's going to Ohio State. And he
He know
signed to
better.
Ohio State.
Smart young man. Smart young man.
But yeah,
They just got more Jimmys and Joes, and
bottom
I think
line,
it's going to be a good game. I don't think
be-
either team is getting blown out.
because like you said, defensive line, like one team may have the edge, but it's not by much.
It's not by
So
much.
I'm calling it a wash.
Yeah,
Skill position, I'm taking Ohio State.
100%.
On the defensive backfield and the offensive skill guys. Quarterbacks, I trust, like I said, I don't know much about Julian saying like he hasn't been in this spot. But like you said, we've seen Carson Beck when he gets that fire put on him, what
Our tap
happens?
dance. Our tap dance.
And this is like I said, I really do try to take my hate for Miami out of my decision making.
Oh,
Going by what I've seen. Like even with the Texas A&M win, like it was only a 10-3 game.
it wasn't impressive by any stretch. It was
It
not
wasn't
good football to
impressive.
watch.
And Marcel Reed still had a chance. I don't know why he threw that pass, but whatever. He'll grow from it, maybe. But
Maybe.
we'll see. Yeah, this is not like a hate Miami thing. It's just Jimmy's and Joe's. Who's made the right decisions in the right spots? Ryan Day
Yeah.
has just won a national championship last year. We've seen Mario Cristobal make critical mistakes in critical times. We've seen Carson Beck make critical mistakes in critical times. Last game, I said, you know what? You got one guy that they try to force feed. And for the most
That's
part,
it.
I want to say for the most part, like they did slow him down. They stopped him. He had a big punt return that got him in field position. He got the game winning jet sweep. But that's it.
And how many
So
ways can you scheme to get him the football?
that's what I'm saying. At the
Against
end
these
of
kind
the
of
day-
athletes.
Exactly. We're not talking about Boston College. Talking about Pittsburgh. Like, we're talking about basically the highest payroll in college football.
They got
And
a lot of.
that
most
sounds
guys
even
are gonna-
crazy to even say.
It does. It's so terrible.
Like,
They got a lot of guys who this time next year are going to be chasing down Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. Like that's what's on Ohio State, and that's just not. That's not something I think Miami is fully equipped across the board with. I think 9.5 is a little large. Now, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised to see 24-14. If I had to pick a score, that'd be it. If I were a betting man, I might take the under, but I'm not a betting man. So straight up, Ohio State over Miami. New Year's Day, the 3 games over at the Orange Bowl that used to have a creative graphic with the big smiling orange. I don't know what it is now. Anyway, bring back the 90s logos. All of it.
Yeah. In all sports.
All of it. All sports.
All sports, all apparel, everything, bro. It was actually colorful. And not like talking about just colors. Like it was vibrant. It like you associate, like you see something, you like, oh, that's that.
Yeah.
And we don't have that anymore. Everything is bland, dark. Come on, man.
So sterile. We used to be a country, a proper country. Oregon faces Texas Tech, who has bought their way to the college football playoff. This is probably the game I'm most excited about. Noon Eastern kickoffs. So 9 a.m. for the Ducks. Oregon is a 2.5-point favorite. Over under is 51.5. Supposed to be like 65 degrees in Miami.
Perfect.
So it's just going to be nice and pleasant. We're just going to play football, coach. Who you got?
I got to go with Oregon because I picked them to be in the national championship game. Nah, I'm going to so this game is going to validate who belongs. Because a lot of people aren't like, they're skeptical of Oregon, which deservingly so. They got beat by Indiana, their toughest matchup. They got handled by Indiana, like in the trenches. We'll talk about Indiana, Alabama, but that's what scares me about them. But at the same time, man, good quarterback. Like their gameplay in the trenches has been good. It wasn't good against Indiana.
Yeah.
And the amount of points that JMU scored on them, it doesn't surprise me just because of how the game went. It was just going to be a high-scoring game. I do believe in Dante Moore. I do believe in Dan Lanning. I don't know him enough about Texas Tech. They beat BYU twice, but if you actually watch those games, so this is I'm a defensive guy. You know this. We both love defense. But when a team has consistently won throughout the regular season, their MO of winning is to force turnovers. I don't know if I trust them a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a hold
Because
up.
when you don't get them, those opportunities shrink. If you're not going to get pick sixes, fumble returns, interception, long return in your opponent's territory, that means your opponent actually has to drive the football. We've seen like how they won, and it's been very impressive. I like the way they win, but when it comes down to the playoffs, we know it's just like the NFL playoffs. You watch more film, you're more careful, you scheme more things up. So it tells me if Dante Moore doesn't turn the ball over, I don't know who Texas Tech is.
I mean, neither.
So that's why that's what I'm saying. They've been great at what they do, what they've done. But that's why I have Oregon, man. I've seen them win in multiple ways. I've seen Texas Tech rely turnovers. You're not just going to get them. And sometimes it's just ill-advised turnovers. The BYU quarterback was in hell. He was just forcing everything. Both games. he was like, bro, what is going on?
Yo.
So that's why I have
screaming
Oregon,
at the TV. I'm screaming at TV watching Bo Bergmeyer in both those games, especially the Big 12 title game. Man, somebody get this man some help. Does he need glasses?
He was fighting for his life, bro. It's like me just showing up and going out there to play quarterback. That's how he looked. Lost. Man.
He looked, God bless him, right? Dude, and why are you wearing 47? Anyway, sorry. Bro. He looked terrible. I watched both those games. I also watched Texas Tech quite a few other times. One was against Arizona State, which to me was a much worse loss than I think people are giving credit if you watch it. I don't have time to get into the particulars there. Stats and advanced metrics kind of like Texas Tech more, I think, than most of the gurus or pundits or whoever. The problem, again, some of this stuff, you can't trust stats the way you used to anymore and we at least used to have a lot of common opponents.
I hate that, man.
Right? So if you've got common opponents and advanced metrics, you can do a lot more adjusted for tempo and opponent and down and distance and so on and so forth. You just can't do that a lot because these people don't play each other anymore. That being said, they both played Oklahoma State and both beat the brakes off Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State doesn't tell you anything about anyone anymore. So what do we do? Maybe we go to the team stats. Texas Tech is third in the nation in points scored, third in points against. Do I really think they're that good? 28th in rushing yards, 10th in passing yards. Ultimately, my issue, and I wanted to go Oregon like pretty heavy here, and then I looked at it a little bit more and thought about it, and I think I read something to where in the three best defenses they played, which I think would be Oregon, Indiana, Washington, and Iowa, they scored a combined 4 offensive touchdowns. That brings me a little bit of pause, right? Oregon is going to score at will and abuse Maryland and Rutgers and Northwestern. But against teams who actually have guys who are going to play on Sundays and or are just good top-tier Power 4 athletes, they only score 4 offensive touchdowns. Now, part of that is Indiana just absolutely bullied them, 1. Now, that's a stat, right? Now, if you look a little bit deeper into that, I watched the entirety of that game against Iowa. That was just a torrential downpour, a torrential sort of November Midwestern downpour. It is what it is. You got to find a way to win those games. And the other was Washington, which is just a rivalry game that I think a lot of people don't have a concept of. They've switched conferences. That's just a tough game for them, if that makes sense. That gave me a little bit of pause. Ultimately, I came to Texas Tech is going to get on the field with something on Thursday, that they have not been on the field with this year. They have not seen a quarterback as dynamic as Dante Moore. They have not seen running backs who are just as great, as pure, talented athletes as they're going to see. And then most importantly, and we both live here, Texas Tech has not seen the front 7 that they are going to see at the Orange Bowl. So actually I was like 2.5. No, that's disrespectful to Oregon. I don't think it's disrespectful anymore. However, I think I like the Ducks still, maybe by 4 or 5 points, not by multiple scores.
Yeah.
I just think Baron Morton might have a moment where he looks like Bo Burkmeyer, and that'll probably be the difference. Now, look, nobody's been able to run the ball really against Texas Tech this year, and so I think there's a little bit of advantage here, and this is why we do need to change a little bit of the playoff structure. Because you're a fool if you think, and I know, look, coaches will never admit this. As a coach, you focusing on your current opponent. You'd be a fool to think Dan Lanning didn't have half of his staff already focused on Texas Tech. And James Madison was maybe the only team, maybe Tulane, that would afford them that luxury, if that makes sense. So they locked in and had a game plan, of course. You don't overlook anybody, but they've also had some time to sort of scheme around the Red Raiders as well. If I had to pick a score, man, I'm thinking maybe Oregon 28, Texas Tech 23, but I'm taking the Ducks.
Yeah, this is completely different game than Miami, Ohio State. Like these teams will score more points, but it's still I trust Oregon more because I've seen them play tougher games.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, Texas Tech has, man, a team that relies so heavy on turning the ball over, taking the ball away. It's hard, man. It's hard because you look up, you're 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and you haven't had your explosives. You haven't turned the ball over. Now you're now you're down 20-10. What do I do? And I still have to drive the ball against this team who's been there before. We're thinking the same thing. Like the spread is kind of where it should be. Like you said, 2.5. But I just trust Oregon more because they've played in tougher games.
Yeah.
And they found different ways to win.
Likewise, definitely. And honestly, I'm changing my pick. It's a different conversation, but I'm coming around the Ducks.
You coming around?
Look, they only 4 teams that can win it. They were always one of them. This is a great segue into the next game, which is the Rose Bowl, which has been moved up an hour. So I guess we wouldn't get our typical sort of sunset.
So it's 4? It's usually
It's
5?
at 4 Eastern. It's always at 5. It's been at 5, I think, my whole life. Look at they just ruin everything that we love. And this is what y'all actually get because it's torrential downpours in Southern California anyway. You move the Rose Bowl and you get flooding rains. So,
bro, hold up.
I don't know who needs to hear this.
Before we go into that, you mentioned the Rose Bowl. I was thinking last week, and I know this won't happen, money, whatever. It doesn't make sense that a team, so we have 12 teams. First 4 get first round buys. How come the top seed of that next group get a home game and the actual teams who get the bye week don't get a home game? Now, I know why. I'm not asking you why. But imagine a home quarterfinals game in Sanford Stadium. Like you can find a way to figure it out. And the bottom line is save it for the semifinals and the national championship. And then use whoever else. Use it for the first round. But I feel like it's backwards. It should be, man, I deserve a home playoff game. Anyways, that's just
Can't
me.
do that.
That's just me thinking about how it used to be.
You got to keep the money flowing to these bowl games, man. That would just make too much sense. Look, but anyway,
you can keep the naming rights. Sugar Bowl at Sanford Stadium.
College football playoff quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl presented by Prudential. Good grief. Indiana's a 7-point favorite. Over-under is 48.5. Again, weather will be a factor. It's supposed to pour down here. This is probably the game that I'm going to watch most intently. And then also, I think will be the least interesting. This is my total hot take. But the only reason this line is even 7 points is the names on the team and the uniforms on the helmet. Because if you swap out any other advanced metrics, resume, statistics, you name it, if you take these names off, this is a 14.5-point spread. It's just a matter of people thinking that Indiana has no business beating Alabama. And then you tell me that it's supposed to rain cats and dogs, and I'm supposed to
Alabama can't run the ball.
A one-dimensional offense? No, don't think so. I think the one thing I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'm going to pay attention to, Stephen Daly, freak accident, celebrating after the Big Ten title game. Indiana star defensive end. He's out the rest of the year. So I'm interested in just seeing, there is no sort of next man up in that regard, but I'm interested in seeing just how much pressure they're able to get on Ty Simpson, particularly given Alabama still has some pro players on the offensive line with Caden Proctor and a couple others. But I don't see this being close. Alabama can't run the football. It's going to be a torrential downpour. Indiana is much better in all the advanced metrics. I'm taking the Hoosiers by 14, which is a crazy thing to say, yeah. But
That
the
is
only
crazy.
reason this is a 7-point game is because if this is flipped, Alabama is 1 and has the same sort of resume of metrics, and Indiana were 9 with the same resume as Alabama. This line would be 14.5 points, at least. At least.
Yeah, I agree. And it pains me that we're not Alabama fans per se for the people. We admire, I can say for myself, I just admire what Nick Saban did.
Oh, for sure.
It was crazy. So it made me a fan of just how it's supposed to be done.
Exactly.
I wish Kirby Smart was just somewhere else because I admire what he's doing down there in Athens.
Amen.
Well, up there for me.
Man.
So it's just certain people who just, or certain coaches who run their organization, how it's supposed to be ran. I just admire that. Yeah, but this year it just doesn't look like. The problem with Alabama is, for Alabama fans, you're expecting Kalen DeBoer to run his program and to have the same brand of football like Nick Saban. They're going to get the talent. He can coach, but you're not getting just smash mouth football. I'm not saying they're not paying attention to the trenches, but it's different. Like, his recruiting method is not just load up in the trenches and let's just be better than you. We're going to run the football. We're going to win both lines of scrimmage. Because that's not how he was in Washington. Now, whether that was by choice or force, that's just not how he was. So you can't expect him to just flip the script on how he's always done things just because he's in a new place. So they're still going to always, they're going to win 10 games a year at least. And you're going to have a shot to win the SEC every single year. But to see an Alabama team that cannot run the ball is just crazy to me. And I'm not saying they struggle to run the ball. They cannot run the ball. They can't. I'm not talking about just against Georgia.
No.
Like, they haven't been able to successfully run the football. And if you cannot do that, if you're one-dimensional, it's already hard. But now you're talking about the weather being a factor. And Indiana, I know they had a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. They're running the ball.
Oh, yeah.
They're running the ball. And if you can't stop the run, hey, you're not running the ball, like, it's going to be hard, man. Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's hard for me to say Indiana winning by 14 just because the name, but I would not be surprised.
I'm fine with it.
Hey, all we can go is by what we've seen all year.
Alabama ranks at 120th in the country in rushing yards per game.
What is like 136 teams?
What happened to the game I love?
What happened?
Well,
also, you mentioned elite talent on the offensive line. I haven't been playing elite. Like, obviously with the run game, but even in pass protection, teams for the last 4 or 5 games, they've been getting to Ty Simpson.
He's been running for his life.
Man, running for his life.
He's running for his life in the first half. I'm watching the game with my girl who don't know nothing about football. I'm trying to learn something because I watch all the time. It's just like, why is he running for his life every play in the first half? That is Alabama this year with Ty Simpson. It just is what it is. And I think
the way they win this game, and I don't think they're going to win, it's going to be similar to Oklahoma. It's going to be, you got to be elite when you need it, say 4th and 2, 4th and 5, when you need a first down, touchdown. You got to be making elite play on special teams, a block kick, elite play on defense, pick 6, fumble recovery. You had all 3 of those against Oklahoma. Yeah, so that's the only way that they beat Indiana. They're not going to just line up, I'm just going to run my play, run my game plan. It's not going to happen like that. You better hope Mendoza makes some mistakes.
Yeah, and I think you might be able to bait Mendoza into a mistake. He's not
Yeah,
gonna make more than one. John Mateer couldn't fit a football in the Pacific Ocean
yeah. Two
after
different
he
two different quarterbacks.
after he broke his head. And the last thing I'll say on this one, and the reason why I'm really comfortable picking Indiana by 2 scores, is in the unlikely event all those things happen. And they could, because Indiana, we can't rule out Indiana getting on that stage and being in the Rose Bowl and having time to think about, oh, this is the most historic year in team history. We beat Ohio State, won the Big Ten title game, whatever. They could nut up for a couple of quarters. And then the game be close in the second half. So if all that does happen still, Fernando Mendoza has these really big targets, and Elijah Surratt
Yep.
and Omar Cooper Jr., guys who are
Mhm.
going to play on Sundays and be at least round 2 picks. Even in that situation, I think they're going to be able to make enough big plays in the
Yeah,
passing game to get over the hump. I like Indiana. This is the game
I
where if
agree.
you feel like you need to take a nap, or you're hungover from the night before, or you got
This
something on
is
the
the
hype
one.
list.
This is the one we're sure of the outcome.
This is look. Hey, I'll eat my words if I have to. I just don't see it. I wouldn't be shocked to see anybody win this weekend except for Alabama. That would be the most shocking win of this quarterfinal
Just
if
because
it
they're
happens.
like the only one-dimensional team. If they
I've
were
never seen
top
them can't
50 in
run the
rushing,
ball.
if they were top 50 in rushing, they would be undefeated. So you're talking about a completely different team. You're talking about outside of top 100? That's nuts.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
nuts.
Jam Miller is their leading rusher. He has 504 yards rushing. Barrett Bryant rolling over in his grave.
Man, that's
All right.
crazy.
Speaking of which, I said I'd be most shocked to see Alabama, which means I wouldn't be that shocked to see Ole Miss beat Georgia in the college
I
football
wouldn't.
playoff
They should
quarterfinal
have.
at the
Presented
All-State
by
Sugar
who?
Bowl. All-State.
Oh, okay.
I hate this. Hey, sure, man. ESPN. Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. I have a lot of thoughts on this game.
Bro, so Ole Miss should have beat them the first time.
They should have.
It was Trinidad Chambliss' first game as a starter, second maybe. They scored on their first 5 drives.
He was
Now
dragging them
Georgia
like dogs.
defense, the past, I would say, since the Mississippi State game, they've been a completely different defense. I will say, like, I give them credit for that. Georgia's gonna do what Georgia does. They want to play tough defense. They want to run the ball. Gunnar Stockton is going to use his legs to buy some time to get first downs. But on the other side, I don't want to disrespect Lane Kiffin's coaching ability.
He didn't disrespect
Say
it. Okay.
I don't want to because I don't want to say he doesn't matter. But those players are still the players. None of those players are gone.
Yeah.
And in conjunction with what's the OC's name? Trickett?
I
Is it
forget.
Trickett?
Is that Charlie Weiss Jr.?
Charlie Weiss Jr. So they called plays in conjunction or made the game plan or whatever. And you're talking about the same quarterback, same team that had Georgia on the ropes. I think Georgia just made one more play late. It was a few busted coverages at the end. So 6.5, like it should probably be about that just because Georgia's pedigree. Uh, is it shocking me if Ole Miss wins? No, because they should have won the first time. And they
Yeah.
seen that they can play well against tough competition. They can run the ball.
Fancy that.
And they can run the ball. They do play like a opportunistic defense. They're not going to hold you to 50 yards rushing, but they're going to send pressure. I imagine Pete Golding is now he goes from DC to head coach. Probably, I expect him to throw everything at Gunnar Stockton. My problem with Georgia's style of football, as far as their offensive game plan, is it's been like relying on poor tackling by the defense.
Yeah.
Like Mike Bobo is the king. You know what? I need a big play. I'm gonna just throw a screen pass and just let my guys do whatever. You make those tackles. Open field
Yeah.
tackling is very difficult. You make those tackles in space. There's not a lot of scheming going on. Zachariah Branch, bro, that's all you've been. You're very dynamic, but you're relying on a guy to make up a ton of yards off of screen passes. So, whereas if you're talking about on the other side with Ole Miss, they spread the ball around a little bit more. I'm actually
Oh,
picking Ole Miss in this game.
oh,
I'm actually picking Ole Miss, bro.
no.
Like I said, without the blunders in coverage late in that first game, Ole Miss wins that game. They had a 9-point lead, I believe, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was up, and they just blew it.
They it was like 8 or 9. I think it was 9. So you're talking about a 9-point lead. Like
9 point lead.
Lane Kiffin wishes he had that one back because
Yeah,
they're a top 4 seed.
I'm
And
sure he
maybe we
does.
not having this discussion. I don't know. He probably still goes to LSU. But
Like, he still.
but yeah, man, I got Ole Miss. I got Ole Miss with
They
the upset, bro.
Man, at 1:42 left in the third quarter of that game, Ole Miss had an 82.6% win probability. They
Yeah.
were up 35-26,
Mhm.
and they had 32 at the Georgia 43-yard line.
And they didn't get it.
Things just kind of unraveled slowly from there.
The thing about teams, if you're playing a team that you know is superior on paper,
Yeah,
I don't remember what happened on that 3rd and 2, but you got to convert it. You have
yeah.
to. 9 points is not enough.
And you've got to know that's not enough.
It's not enough, man. Unless you're up by 17 late in the third, you can't even relax then because there's no a Kirby Smart led team. It's not going to stop fighting.
It's not what they do. Look, everything that I think about, that I look at, that I study about this game, wants me to pick Ole Miss. I'm like you. I don't think, and I don't care if it does mean disrespect. I have no problem disrespecting Lane Kiffin. With all due disrespect, actually, I don't think it matters that he's not in the building. I think, you know me, head coaching does matter.
Yeah.
I don't know if it matters in January in the line, if that makes sense.
So
Yeah. And so, look, I have no idea Pete Golden has the chops to be an SEC head coach. I don't. I think you can flip a coin and see if that's actually the case. And if you told me that whole thing imploded in 3 years, I'm sorry. I wouldn't be that surprised. Do I think it matters for Thursday night? Absolutely not. I think it's always helpful to play somebody second. I think these games in the playoff are going to be a lot like having to play your divisional opponent 3 times in the NFL. Beat them twice. That third time is darn near impossible. That being said, I'll also add that Trinidad Chambliss is probably, look, Mendoza and Dante Moore are going to be top 5 picks. They probably shouldn't be, but they're going to be. Whatever. Quarterback mini league. But Trinidad Chambliss is probably the quarterback I want to play the least left in this bracket. Ty Simpson's going to be a top 15 pick too. We can go down the list. But Trinidad's the one I don't want to play because if he's on, with both his arm and
everything
his
is rhythm. And we
Look.
talked about this with Georgia and Alabama. They struggle with mobile quarterbacks.
I struggle with them
because their game plan is designed to just keep you in the pocket, rush the passer, keep contained, but you can't trust. It's hard to funnel a quarterback who's not truly looking to just run. Athletes on the offensive side, like as soon as he gets out of he's going to make something happen.
He's gonna make plays.
He's looking to make something happen. So it's hard to contain a guy like that.
Yeah. And so that's the thing that kind of caused me a little reservation. And let me be clear. Everything else about this matchup, I think, favors Georgia. Far superior coaching staff.
Yep.
More athletes on the outside. Better in the trenches. More experience. Love the process and what Kirby Smart has brought there. So I think Trinidad Chambliss is game for a pretty great game. And I think that's going to be hard to stop. And when you get a quarterback dialed in who can do it with his leg and his arm in college football, that's almost impossible for any college defense to stop. You just can't do it. Even if you got 9 guys that are going to play at the next level, and if you got 10 guys, we saw plenty of Alabama teams with every single starter on that defense, sometimes even too deep, was drafted into the NFL.
And then there's a guy named Deshaun Watson.
You just can't stop that at the college level. You just can't.
Yeah.
Right? It's college football and not pro football for a reason. So this is how high I am on Ole Miss. However, that defense is terrible. And for the 42 points that I expect,
what's the over under?
55.5.
55. That makes sense.
for the 35 points that I expect Ole Miss to score, I'm very confident Gunnar Stockton can say, all right, bet. I'll get us 38. I'll pick a Georgia for that reason.
No, I get it. I get it, bro. I get it. And maybe it's just, I don't know. I want to see Ole Miss is not like the standard SEC team that's supposed to be here. And maybe it's just me wanting to see it. But like you said, a lot of it is knowing college football defenses. A quarterback who can get hot like that is just dangerous.
Yeah.
Like we saw Ohio State last year. He wasn't like super dynamic the entire season, but they used him in a lot of ways in the postseason.
You had to respect it come playoff time.
Yeah,
Something
you
else
had
you
to
got to scheme for.
You had to respect it. And
Yeah.
that's why he caught some teams off guard.
Yeah.
Even when Notre Dame beat Georgia last year, you had to respect the quarterback run. He was running like QB power. It wasn't like
It wasn't.
I'm making
Trinidad
play.
gonna be out in
I'm
space, man.
designing this run
Yeah.
and I'm running QB power. But I mean that's why I'm picking Ole Miss. Now, am I surprised if Georgia wins? Absolutely not. I respect Kirby Smart. I wasn't high on Gunnar Stockton early, but he's shown enough. Whereas if they go win a national championship, it's going to be because of him. Like
Oh,
he's
he can do
shown me. He's shown me that.
100%.
I don't know. I'm still going Ole Miss.
It's all good. Hey, but my feelings about the Georgia Bulldogs are well known. All right. See,
Yeah.
This is everybody's proof that we're not just homers. Let me reiterate. I don't. No love for Georgia. However,
Even know where mine comes from. I really don't.
oh, my reasons are real personal.
It started maybe like in high school or college, or I think it was more college. I was around a bunch of Georgia fans, and back then that they weren't doing a bunch of nothing, and they just hyped them up every year. It was like the Miami of now, but back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I just got tired of it and just became a hater. I don't know.
I lost respect. I never could find respect for people who hadn't won anything and were always SEC.
Yes, and that's
How
what I'm saying.
Rival, no respect.
I think that's what it is too.
No
We're not
respect.
rooting for an entire conference. I'm
What are you
rooting for the
talking about?
AFC North. That's nuts.
I'm rooting for Nick Saban because I want conference pride. That's weird.
That's
and y'all
crazy.
a life.
And I think they were the
Wow.
only ones who did that. Before these last two with Kirby, the SEC, who the entire conference claimed was Alabama. Oh, we won 8 straight national championships. No. Alabama won most of those. Okay, Georgia, you won 2. Okay, it's Alabama and Georgia. Sprinkle in the LSU every 10 years. Sprinkle in the Auburn, who gets there every 15
It's
years.
there. Ain't
We're
gonna
talking
win it, but
about
they'll
3 schools.
Yeah.
We're talking about 3 schools, and you're talking about SEC pride. I'm off my
It's
soapbox.
really it's just Alabama and Georgia. And one
That's it.
historic year from a program that habitually underachieves.
Yes.
The
LSU always
talent-rich
underachieves.
university, most talent-rich football state in the union. What do they have? 2 national titles in the common era?
Yeah. You got
2020,
03
what was that?
and you got
Yeah.
2019. Yeah.
Goodness, that's
Save
terrible.
one of those.
And y'all think Lane Kiffin is gonna? Anyway, LSU national titles: 1958, 2003,
3 and 2019.
2019. Did they win national title in 2007?
Wait, they did. That
was the split, wasn't it?
No, there wasn't a split. Auburn wanted it to be a split. They beat USC, if
That's
I'm not
right.
mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Dang.
beat one of them. They beat somebody like that.
All right, yeah, I'm wrong. 03, 07, and 2019. Dang. That's it. 3 national titles.
That's it.
That's LSU should win at least 2 national titles every decade.
Yeah.
Every decade. And y'all think Lane Kiffin is gonna anyway. All right. We'll have all off season to do that. Hey man, if you ain't subscribed to the show, do us a favor. Click subscribe. All right. Tell your homeboy, tell your crunchy girl who you got a crush on, who like football, about the show. Tell her to subscribe, tell her to like us, all that good stuff. Hey, we'll be back to talk about these semis. It's gonna be a great day. Happy New Year, y'all. Be safe. All right. Don't go out there
Peace.
drink and drive.
Drink at
All right.
home.
Drink at
That's what I've been
home.
doing.